While we sleep, the guardians of the night take to the streets, having said goodbye to those they love. Each other knowing they may never say these words again. They face the evil that we run from. They dedicate their lives to those that would hate them because they wear the badge. They wear the badge not for the glory or recognition, but because they were born to honor the thin blue line. This is the LEO First Podcast. We'll talk to the men and women in law enforcement, those that have retired, and anyone who's impacted by law enforcement. We'll peel back the curtain, and you'll get the real stories. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Every law enforcement officer has a story to tell. Get ready to hear from the men and women who put their lives on the line every day for their communities and their country. Welcome to the LEO First Podcast. Now, here's your host, Michael Laidler.
Welcome to the LEO First Podcast. My name is Michael Laidler, which you all have figured out probably at least yesterday. I know Sonia didn't come to my presentation, so I don't know how much she remembered about me, but obviously bringing me back and forth to the conference helps out. For the viewers, today we have Sarah from Beulah. Oh, that's a whole other joke in itself. We have Sonia from Mandan, Shauna from Tioga, and Angela from Grand Forks, where we've been fortunate enough to do the podcast here. For the viewers, if they don't know, everybody is a spouse of a current chief, right? Everybody's active chief, and we wanted to create this episode to highlight what you all have going in your life, because what we realize is a lot of times the spouses, the kids, any family member, they're kind of put on the back burner, and we know chiefs are stressed out, but sometimes we don't actually hear the other sides of the story, because we always say, well, the chief's going through all this, but when the chief goes home, it ain't like their stress just stops. And that's where I think we can pick up on this side. And of course, there's no script to this. All the viewers know that. Watch any episode, any podcast I host, I just throw things out there, but we will be on a path to how do we make this environment better in general. Because that's what it's all about. How do we make the law enforcement family better? It's nobody's doing it by themselves. You're in nursing, you know that you can't run a hospital on your own. Same thing with law enforcement, and it's all about the family. And this is our chance to highlight what you all have going on in your lives and what you want people to know and what you probably need help with, because we can't do it by ourselves. So who wants to start off first? What do y'all want to talk about? Now Frank did say you would probably start off, so he described you in certain ways.
Yeah, all those gentlemen describe me in certain ways. So anyway, so being a law enforcement wife is not easy. We all know that. When you're married to the chief of police, it's really not easy either. You have, and it's hard to balance that life, because you have your husband and you have to hold standards in the community, so you can't do things that some of the other wives do. You also have to hold the standard not as a police officer's wife, but as a chief's wife. So you're not as friendly with the other officers and their spouses. Like, you care about them, you're friends with them, you support them, you do the best that you can, but you still have to maintain a different level. So it's just like, you have to manage your personal life just as well as you manage a business life, right? So, you know, when things are going sideways, you can never bitch down, you always have to bitch up or across. And so it's the same way being a police officer's or a chief of police wife. You can't go to another wife and bitch about what the other officers are doing, right? You have to find other support groups like you ladies to bitch across, because shit rolls downhill. So that's difficult. And then the home life with raising kids, your husband's disciplining the community, they're managing a community all day long. They don't want to come home and manage kids. So we had that struggle in our house where I had to be the disciplinarian and he got to be the friend. So it was like good cop, bad cop. And I think every wife deals with that. You basically raise your kids as a single parent, and dad gets to be the friend when they're a police officer. So I think there's a lot of aspects to being a law enforcement wife that make it difficult, but yet in the end it's really rewarding. I know, Shauna, you struggle with him taking time for you, And I told him last summer, the rule of sevens, like you have to follow that.
I don't even care about me.
So
honest to God, I don't care. Come home and pay attention to your kids.
right.
Don't. I
And
know
that's a
how to
struggle.
raise them during the day. I know how to raise them during the weekends, which, you know, is a sign up on its own. Like you were
Right.
saying, like you don't know what you can marry into somebody that's already a police officer and still not understand the concept if you're thinking about having kids. It comes to the point where when they're toddlers, that's not just a dad.
Right.
It maybe I want to say it's not just a mom's job to raise the babies. It's you still have to have a dad come home and pay attention to you, so they're growing up knowing what their dad's doing,
Right.
not just I'm going to work so I can come home and be mad all night.
Right.
Which,
And I think,
like you were saying, it doesn't just drop off at the door. A lot of us get to go to work, and granted, I can't say this anymore. Because I own a home daycare too, so
Okay.
I'm constant 24 hours. Kids, but most people get to leave their job and leave it at the door.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like work expects you to go in and leave your personal life, there is none of that in this
not in this
law
environment.
enforcement environment. Like there is no just leaving it at the door. But on the other hand, a lot of agencies, a lot of different states don't recognize that they also need somebody to be able to talk to.
Right.
Not just another chief, not just their wife. They need to be able to talk to somebody else. Because when they can't talk about it, like you were saying, it does roll up. You can't go to another officer and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. You can't come home and talk to your wife about it.
Right.
And in the same aspect of, you know, is just being able to talk to somebody and realizing that part of maintaining how you're doing your job is being able to talk about it
Right.
to somebody.
I think another thing too is in the smaller departments, the work really follows them because they get phone calls on their personal phones. They get people showing up at their door.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter if you're having dinner with your family or not, you're just taken away all the time, especially in the smaller departments. Like you guys have 5 in Tioga? 6?
5.
5?
Well,
And-
we're down. So, but I mean, technically
And
we should have 5.
then when they're down, on top of it, then they work all these extra hours, right? That takes them away from your kids even more. I know the larger departments have that issue with staffing and stuff too, and not having enough officers. But I think that it's more filtered as to far as how often the community can contacts them outside of work. Like we can't even go to the grocery store in a smaller town without somebody, or going out to eat. Somebody coming up and say, hey, I have a question for you, Frank. I know you're not working right now, and I hope it doesn't bother you. Yeah, you know, it bothers me. It bothers me. This is my time. Like you know, sometimes
we go
I
anywhere?
ask them, I get frustrated enough when I answer our personal phone, and they'll say, hey, is Frank there? And I'll say, is this an emergency? If it is, you can dial 911. And he's like, Sarah, don't do that. And I'm like, well,
Draw the
it's
line
like,
though. Yeah.
Yep.
your personal life, like you have to have time for your family too, and in a small department, it's really, really hard. It's really hard.
Oh,
We're waiting for you. You were on the front. We're like, we're just looking. It's like, well, you don't have a mic, so.
no, that is very interesting, and my husband's department is a little bit bigger. It's not a massive department, but it's a little bit bigger, so it's not to that extreme, but I can just see exactly what you're saying. But it is true, you're in the grocery store just as the wife, and you'll have your neighbors ask you questions that I don't even know what they're asking. They think I'm a police officer.
Correct.
That happens all the time, and they stop by the house asking me questions to ask Jason and all that.
Can you ask your husband this? Wait, what?
I don't
She's like, I heard.
Why?
Hey, can you ask your husband why he decided this? Like, what do you mean? Why do I have to ask him? I'm not the citizen. Like inquiry.
So, but also it is what she's saying. You know, I can't go to the PTA meeting and be just a jerk, because of who my husband is. You know, everybody knows who I am, so I cannot go there and say what I really want to say. So I have to.
You're held to a different standard.
Held
You have to
to a
Biting
way
your
different
tongue.
I think Sarah may say what she really wants to say.
Yes.
Something, and I think she's like, yeah, I say a lot more than what I should.
Sometimes I do though. I mean, over the years, I've learned to do it a little bit more tactfully. I mean.
You know, what you said earlier, I think it's a kind of good thing to kind of go back to. You know, when I was just thinking about being a law enforcement officer's wife, I wasn't thinking about the different levels. Like, there's a difference of being an officer's wife, a sergeant's wife, a lieutenant's wife, and a chief's wife. I know all your spouses weren't always chiefs. So when did y'all realize like there was a difference? Like when did you realize that now you can't just go back to people below you anymore? Like, cause it would look bad on the chief himself.
Mine is easy because it started, I met my husband, so we had dated for like 2 years by the time we got married, and a year after, I'm gonna forget time frames, so forgive me, but about a year after we were married, we were pregnant with our first. I was pregnant, whatever. He was promoted to chief 5 days after our newborn was born. Like, we literally took him out of the hospital, had the weekend with him, and the next Monday night was a commission meeting where he was getting promoted to chief. And that, I don't wanna say it was a downfall, but from then on, it's always been, where's the village that you were kind of expecting people would be,
Cause you weren't able to build it up.
right.
Like, or build into it, I see what you're saying, okay.
Yep, it was a very short time frame, like, he was already, a corporal, I wanna say, when we had started. He moved up very quickly, like, small town department, you lose one person and you're moving up 2 or 3 at a time. So there was no real build up. I knew he was an officer and that I didn't really have much to say back then. But, you know, after that newborn was born, it was immediate that it was chief. And yeah, like I said, it was just kind of, you already know from the get-go that your community isn't really gonna back you the way you want to all the time. They forget to see you as a mom, as a newborn mom or first time mom or whatever the case, and kind of look at you more, well, now you just are, you know, everybody's gonna have their own opinions, especially in a small town.
Absolutely.
And they never really looked at that after, as far as, I can still be a mom, you can still be my, you know, help me as a village, being a mom, instead of, I'm just the chief's wife.
Yeah, you're on your own at that point.
Right.
From that perspective, like you said, from the community, you're like, hey, you're the chief's wife now, so hey, whatever feelings you thought you were gonna have, or support in this case, just hey, you're on your own, because you're on a different, like, you should just know. And you're like, I don't think it works like that.
No.
You're with the first kid. There's the first kid, I don't think it works like that. Now, a few more after that, you might be able to figure it out, but usually the first one, especially like you said, 5 days after, jumping into that, yeah, that's a big jump. Angela, you said you were a cop before?
Yes.
So how did that, like what they're saying, like how did that, like, like, cause you've seen it at all different levels, cause you've seen it before, like, were you married before?
So that's, we have a really, I think, an interesting, just you know, observation here on my experience, or our experience, is that I got my degrees and then moved, got hired by the city of Madison, Wisconsin Police Department, moved there, so I'm not from there, I'm from Minnesota, and then was hired as a police officer, went through academy and training, and then met Jason that way. So we met working, going car to car, going on calls. He was on the SWAT team and I was not really good at tactics, so I got used to like thinking that he would just criticize my tactics. But anyway, and so then we just started dating, and then I knew pretty early that the role is not for me, and not so much the role, but the community. Like I didn't really jive with Madison very well, but I was there on my own. It was like, I signed a lease, you commit, like I gotta do this for a while until I get something else. So then we met, and and then it was from that point on, when we got serious and got engaged, bought a house, like, I found another job in the private sector, but was already pretty used to when we'd be on the phone, he's like, I gotta go, like, no problem. You know, okay, do your thing, or leaving, he was on the SWAT team, and so there's lots of just disturbances, you just got used to it, and then really, I kept, because my role in the private world became more focused on internal investigations, I just naturally became more private. So I am more private, like, I'm not out there as me on Facebook, my LinkedIn is hibernated, like, I just, because of that, it's kind of like, I just kind of don't really exist, and don't have opinions, because in all these roles that I've had in my world, in my careers, as Jason has also moved in his careers, I've just been like, I just know a lot of corporate secrets, so I don't share, I don't offer opinions a lot of the time. And so it's just been when he brings forward things that are concerning, or, you know, maybe there's some idea sharing or thought partnership, like, we just do that back and forth with each other, because it seems like we each need that at different moments in our careers, and so we can be the sounding board for whatever it is, because it just stays quiet with us.
And that's another good thing too, is opinions, so, and social media, so when you have people that in your community that are upset about decisions that are made in law enforcement, or decisions that are made by the council, or somebody else's opinion on the council about something that they've done in law enforcement, and you understand it because you live it, right? So you're in it day in and day out, so you understand the decisions that are made, but yet the community doesn't. But you can't go and correct them on social media or educate them, because then it just opens a whole nother can of worms, you know? So it's one of those things where you really do have to have somebody on the outside as a spouse, and your husband does too, just to vent to other, because you can't do it within your own community, because it just looks bad.
So with that, like what are some things that you all have discovered that might help you wind down and kind of get away from all this stress? Because obviously there's stress in law enforcement, not just for the chief, but for the families as well. Like, what are some of the things that you all see that are working that helps out? She said,
I will be married almost 26 years next month, and one thing I discovered was my husband really has to have hobbies. And it kind of annoyed me at the beginning of a marriage, how much time you're spending on hobbies, but then I finally realized he has to have that. They have to have the hobbies to decompress. So then, you know, as you're married many years, then you start getting hobbies together, like golfing. Things like this that we have to prepare for retirement too. But yeah, so you just hobbies, and going out and doing things with friends is a big thing too. But you really have to have, you know, something that takes you away from the law enforcement world. It's the healthiest thing in the world to have something to just distract you, like a hobby.
Yeah, I have a friend, him and his wife are the same way. They've been married now, I think 10 or 12 years. He's a sheriff, and some of their hobbies are combined now for that reason. And it's outside of, like, it's just them, like they just go hiking or backpacking, and they just get away. It's like but they go do it just with them two. They don't take friends, they don't do family trips, like, because their kids are grown, but they're doing exactly what you're saying. They're finding things that they both like, and they're finding that time away to where it kind of breaks that level of stress up. So yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I think so Frank's hobby has always been work, and so even when he's not working, we have businesses, and so he does construction on the side. For a long time we did roofing. Finally this year we're like not doing that anymore, which is a blessing. We have apartments, and so his hobby has always been work. But as our kids have left home, he was so used to working that it was that I was left home like by myself, and so then I dove into work, and then I was like, all right, this is not good for either one of us. So we have done the rule of sevens. So every 7 days we go on a date, whether it be down to the coffee shop and have coffee, or we go out to dinner. Every 7 weeks we'll go on a date night, and he'll take me out to dinner, or we'll do something fun. And then every 7 months we do some sort of vacation, a mini vacation, whether it be a weekend And then through the Chiefs Association, of course, I've built camaraderie with the Chiefs' wives, because you have to have that support system on the outside. And we go on vacations, we go out to eat, we go have fun. And it's just nice because you have people with that same understanding to do that kind of stuff with. We've had, especially when tragedy strikes, being able to reach out to the other wives is so when 2 years ago when Paul Martin got killed, my first call after I found out what happened, because Frank was there when it happened, I thought it was him. My kids came home and they're like, Mom, check Life 360, there's a head-on 200. And what do? I look at Life 360 and see that's where Frank's sitting. And so I called with no answer. So then after I found out, my first call was to Sonia.
Yeah, it was there.
Yeah, but you're right though, it's important to have that, because at that level, and not more likely at a Chiefs level especially, they don't have, they're answering the phone, but maybe not the family, because they're doing a million other things, especially if they're on scene dealing with that. So that process. So when you were able to call her, how did that work out? I'm guessing you took it on the other line. So
basically, I needed to get hold of my husband to talk to her husband. Basically, that's what we were doing.
Right.
Because he had just been through this traumatic experience, and Jason's, they're just best friends. So we needed to. So I had to get a hold of Jason because he was out of state. So I had to get a hold of him to connect those two together.
Yeah.
Because he really needed to talk to Jason.
Yeah, it was traumatic.
Yeah, it was very, very traumatic.
But the planning ahead is what I believe is the best part of that story, which obviously the death and all that, what you went through wasn't good, but the fact that you knew you could call somebody who can make connections. Also, what you guys did as spouses is you were looking out for your spouse.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Even if you made sure Jason called Frank.
Yeah.
Frank maybe obviously he wasn't trying to call Jason at the time, but he needed that. Like you said, you knew your spouse, she knew hers. It's hey, we may not be able to talk to them in their language, but they can talk to each other.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was another support system. So what I found out speaking to leaders, sheriffs, wardens, chiefs, is they don't have that person necessarily that they can think of. But maybe if their spouses knew, hey, you might have to take charge and reach out, and you might have to force them, hey, because a lot of people, a lot of executives, and we know alphas, a lot of them, you being in the field before, it's hard for us to ask for help, even on bad situations like that. And we rather just suffer by ourselves, and we try to hide bad days. But as spouses or kids, family, we see that. Like you said, you were a kid. Yeah, you said one of your parents were.
My dad was a cop.
He was a cop.
He was
so
chief police.
Yeah. So so you just didn't learn. You're I went to suffer this chief. I'm a spouse. I'm gonna do it all.
Exactly.
No, but the reality is that you all like chiefs, sheriffs, once again, higher level executives of any industry, they have a hard time asking for help. The families, I always tell people when I speak, especially when I talk about mental wellness, I'm your family sees this, right? You think you can hide this from them, especially your spouses? They know you on your good and bad days. Sometimes they create both for you, but when you have bad and good days at work, they know that. Mm-hmm. But the fact that you all have built that network between each other, and obviously you are building it through the Chiefs Association, you knew calling her that, hey, let me call Jason, because Jason can talk to him a way that he understands. Because it's just what it is, just as spouses, y'all talk differently than what maybe Frank or Jason could say, but y'all knew that reaching out to them would make that difference.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I know Frank, I know that was the worst. Well, it's not probably. He's had a lot of bad days in his career. He's a cop. Every cop does, right? But I knew that after he got a hold of me on the phone to let me know that he was okay, I knew that he wasn't okay. His phone call was basically, Paul's dead and I'm alive. And that was all he could get out, So I knew that he wasn't okay. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to give him the support that he needed. Because yes, I can hug him, I can tell him that it's going to be okay, but it's not, right? So I know that reaching out to Jason was the best thing I could have done, because Jason can talk in his language. I don't know that as an officer, So we also had an incident several years ago too, where one of our chiefs got killed, and it was not on duty, it was off duty, but we had, like, his wife needed us.
Yeah.
And
It was just a few months after we had met like this as a group, as a Chiefs group. It was just a couple months later. Yeah, it was
so even
just devastating.
Yeah.
But you know, we wouldn't have even met them had we not had this gathering.
Yeah, so it's been a good thing to build, you know, a relationship with the other police wives, just because our husbands have a hard job, but we have a hard job at home too, and you have a hard job supporting them. So I think having a support system of your own and through the Chiefs Association has been a blessing for all of us. You know, some people aren't as active as some of us are, like Sonia, myself, Linnell, Jason's wife. We all are, you know, just know that if anything happens, we're there. We might not talk every day, but when we get together, it's like everybody understands venting sessions, so.
Well, I will say in North Dakota, this is the first time I've seen the Chiefs Association focus on what we're talking about today. And that lets me know men like Jason and Frank, they're thinking about stuff like that, like, hey, how can we make the outreach? Because this was Jason's idea. This wasn't Michael Layton. I mean, I love doing podcasting. I love speaking to people, but this was Jason like, hey, Mike, what do you think about doing a podcast with wives? And I was like, I don't know what his ultimatum, I don't know if you're trying to get brownie points. I don't know. I don't know.
He did not get brownie points.
Okay, now I just found out this is his idea.
Yeah. Jason, I'm sorry, Jason. I know you're probably watching. Jason's definitely gonna watch this. Jason's like, Mike, why did you tell him on the air? Now I gotta stick with it. But from a visionary standpoint, it makes sense in my head, because what we're talking about, what we will talk about on the next half as well, is how do you get through stuff like this, and how do you create these networks? Because we know it's just 4 of you sitting here, but we know just at the conference there was 50. Probably that, well, there's probably there's 50 chiefs, probably not 50 married. Let's just say half of them were married. There's probably another 15 or 20 of them wondering, like, man, should I get more involved? How do I get through these bad days? Is it just me? And maybe their voice isn't as strong as you all's can be, and they need to hear this. So on Jason's side, this is where I'm gonna say my own face on this one. He's thinking about how he can help the whole association. And we know spouses across the country see it, because this is seen by everybody. And I know you always share it, but it's like, how do we get through this thing? So I think it's a great idea that we're sharing stuff like this. Even in some of the surprises, like Shauna's like, I didn't even know what we were talking about today. I didn't know. Shauna's like, is this gonna be on video, Michael? Yeah, that's kind of the thing. But it's important. But it's cool. Y'all doing good though.
Video me, but it does help, and it, especially if there's other states out there that don't have this summer conference where wives can get involved. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, obviously being in North Dakota, we only know what's going on in North Dakota, but other states in the country are obviously going through the same thing. Yeah. And I would imagine that there's a lot of other states out there that would probably be in more need during certain times, where wives do need to come together, and they need to know how they can you know, find that community of other wives, not just their like the department wives. Or, you know, you can make friends anywhere, but it has to do with what kind of friends we're actually meeting at these association at these specific gatherings.
I would say it is highly unusual to have a Chiefs Association invite the wives. I actually think this is highly unusual.
I speak a lot of conferences. It is unique. I speak at a lot of conferences. Really? Chief sheriffs, usually, at most you might see is maybe at an event. I've seen a few more conferences picking that up, both sheriffs and chiefs starting to do events for the spouse and having family days and like that. But actual attending, I don't see as many. And that doesn't mean they don't invite the spouses. Maybe it's just not promoted. Like, this is probably one of the, we didn't have the biggest amount of chiefs here, but percentage-wise, I've seen a lot more wives, percentage-wise, than even some of the bigger conferences I speak at. So you're right. It is kind of unique.
Mm-hmm.
but I think this is something we should promote.
Yes.
I think this is
Right.
the right way to go,
Yes.
so.
Right, and they really, so the first conference they had, they really drive on not just the wellness of their department and the wellness of the officers, but the wellness of the family. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, if home's broken, work life is gonna be broken.
Right.
Yeah.
If work life is broken, your home is easily broken. So you have to, like, they really promote that, communication, support groups, and like mental health, and it's a really good thing, and it's unfortunate that not every place does it, because, it's not easy to be a police officer's wife.
No,
It's not easy to
no.
be in any role like that, any first responder at all.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
even dispatchers, detention officers, like, you see it all, and any emergency services, it's not an easy job, and it's high stress, and there's a lot of trauma. So, getting your whole family involved, and one thing it's done for me is, sometimes, even though I was a cop's kid and the chief of police's kid, I have very low tolerance for drama and pettiness, and sometimes on the political side, being a chief of police, you have to play the games, right? And Frank is a very good politician. He's good at that part, where I'm not so much. I tell it like it is, and if I hurt somebody's feelings, it's pretty likely that I don't feel bad, so.
Yeah, so on that note, let's take a small break for the sponsors. Like I mentioned, obviously Extra Duty Solutions sponsored my presentation, and obviously me being out here was part of that, so we'll do a quick snippet of them. You guys don't have to do that snippet, it'll just be me. We'll take 5 and come back and pick up. That sound good?
That's great.
All right, perfect.
Your extra duty program can provide meaningful benefits to your officers and the community you serve, but the administrative tasks, financial risks, and legal complications that come along with it can also provide big headaches for your agency. At Extra Duty Solutions, we solve these problems and administer your extra duty program using your rules and rates. You still manage your program, we administer your program. We help you alleviate administrative burden, eliminate financial risks, and mitigate other concerns. And the best part is, all of this is absolutely free to your agency and municipality, as we recover our costs through a small fee charged to your program's clients. Reach out whenever you'd like. Let us take care of all the administrative work so you can focus on the safety of your citizens. Thank you for your dedicated service.
All right, so we're back from our so-called 5-minute break. Maybe a bit longer, but as far as recording goes, it's only going to seem like it was 30 seconds.
All right.
So we're good on that. So one thing we kind of talked about during the break was your new move here, because apparently you haven't been here that long. How long have you been in Grand Forks?
So I haven't been here very long, physically, literally, but my husband though has moved and took the job, accepted the role in November, moved into the role in the end of January of 2025. And so, just as a side note, during that time when he accepted the role, you know, things were kind of different. Our son had gone off to college, that's great. And then right around Christmas time, we got word that my mom was terminally ill with cancer. And so, so Jason moved here. I'll call him Jay, because I keep it separate. Jay moved here, started his role. We got him into the apartment and whatnot. And then I was taking care of my mom in Minnesota until she died in March. And so even when we thought we had a plan in November, it was, well, the plan that we thought we had, even though it was an enormous change for us to move a couple of states away, it changed even more when we had to separate. And so there were some very long weeks and months where we didn't see each other. We were attempting to sort of move, attempting to sort of try to find a house and establish. That was even harder when it's like, well, now I'm at my mom's bedside and there's an estate, and everything else can kind of settle. So it just took a little while. It's still settling. So I've been in this place of like, I use, like, it's not really a metaphor, but like a lot of percolation, a lot of things bubbling to the surface that I just want something to calm down. So things just needed to calm down this spring. And so finally we found a house. But yeah, so like becoming part of the community has been a little bit of an extra challenge so far because of my inability just to be here. and to really get to know people. And people would, Jay and I would joke because he thought that maybe people thought that I didn't really exist. Hey, is your wife gonna be around anytime soon?
You say you have a wife, but we have not seen this person at all.
You're married, yeah. And so that was a running joke for a while. And that's, I guess, the one thing too is that throughout this change, it's like we have a couple mantras. We use like better together is one of our mantras. Like, okay, things are rough, but we're better together, even if we're not like literally in the same space. We're on the same plane of where we're going to be headed. And then just having a good sense of humor about a lot of what's going on, even when it's been fairly dramatic and stress-inducing. So it's just trying to keep things on the high note. Like, okay, well, we embraced this change. Like, we accepted this. We knew this would be part of the deal. We didn't know everything else that was going to happen, but that's just the way life is. And the other thing to note is that Jay's dad died last August. So we just have had a lot of
stuff in the last 12 months. Yeah, we're only in June right now.
We're waiting for the 12 months, and maybe that's just going to be like the little bow. We tie the bow on some of these significant changes. You know, our son, our only kid going to college, all of it. So it's been a lot of like, how do we keep each other centered and together with this? And a lot of it's just like what we were talking about at the break. Like, we just like, what do we agree on right now? Like what's it directly in front of us that we have to handle, and what can we like either push off to the side or just not have to worry about right now? And so there have been a lot of things that have just been postponed, and so just and trying not to take moments together for granted when it's like, all right, well, I'll be driving to Grand Forks, and from where we are in Wisconsin, it's like 8.5-hour drive, and so it's like, all right, just trying to get here in the winter has been a whole thing. And and so now we are in summer, and you know, it feels very much like more solidifying at this point where we can share the same space. So yeah, but it's been a thing. The community's been welcoming, so it's learning the community, learning the job, which has been his role really, and then scoping out my role, as we talked about earlier, attached to that too, where it's like, all right, well, what do I do here? Like, and I'm just kind of rolling with the observation piece of it, because it's just trying to like learn, observe, stay quiet, just be very good at watching and learning. And I mean, I think that's fair for a while. Like, okay, all right, because it's just easier to maybe not to weigh in for a bit and just understand the community a little bit more. But the one thing I think that I've taken away is that the community, hardworking, this community knows how to hustle, and knows how to work and respects people that work hard. And I don't think, I don't think that anyone takes for granted the fact that, you know, that their one job is enough. Like, I know stories of people having multiple jobs, multiple side gigs and hustles. It's really cool to hear about it, where it's like, okay, hot damn, like, this is amazing. So I'm really impressed by the community, like just the go-gettedness that people have here. So that's been like, I've been impressed. And they know how to enjoy summer. Put it that way. So,
Where were we at before?
So we were in southern Wisconsin, and so it's like,
that still sounds cold. But
right. Yeah. So that's the thing.
I was like, this is how you move. We're too far south in the U.S. But.
So we don't like heat. We're like heat babies. Like, we just cry if it gets too humid or too hot. Like, we don't want to handle. So we like winter, and that was part of the equation where it's like, hey, there's this job in Grand Forks. I'm like, okay, I know that. Like, that's like close to Canada.
It is pretty cloose to Canada, yeah.
And
I looked it up earlier. It really is close.
Yeah, and I do some winter ultra sports. So they have taken me to International Falls and just outside of Winnipeg. So things that I like to that create some ultra like running distances that I like being outside in the winter. So yeah, so I'm like, okay, cool.
One thing I'm running to is the parking lot. You talk about ultras. You start saying ultras. We all, if you do run, you know that's talking about 50 miles, 100 miles. Yeah, you're talking about that. I just do that like when I drive. I'm not.
Yep.
And you're doing this in the cold?
Yes, there are a number that take place in the cold, and one's just outside of Winnipeg. I mean, and then so it's just like we're talking a lot of miles, self-supported, very cold. Carry your own water. I pull it on a sled behind me, so I am the sled dog. But it's none
of this is adding up in my head. Like, we're talking about running 50 miles. Now it's cold, and now you have a sled.
So the people that are really hardcore, they run. I mostly fast walk to stay at the right temperature so I don't sweat. Because if I sweat, then my layers get. People listening might get this or not, but or watching. But like, you don't want to sweat through your layers, and so it's very like if you're in International Falls and it is -20, at the start. And you're just like, well, now I have to consume enough calories to stay warm. I have to move at the right temperature or at the right speed to create the temperature internally. And then also I need to make sure that my water doesn't freeze. How do I do that? Because I've had situations where it's like, I take a little micro nap and I wake up and like, my water's frozen. Like, now what? But anyway, and you're self-supported, so you're out there on your own.
You got a lot of surprise. Look, you talking about taking naps on runs. All of us are thinking, if we take a nap, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not getting back up.
I'd be sleeping in the snow.
Yeah.
Start me a fire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, I need a tent and everything.
Yeah. Well, we have a one-person bivvy is usually required. So I have like a -20 sleeping bag, a personal bivvy you set up, and then a little like camp stove that you have to be able to start, and then a lot of high-calorie food.
So does Jay do this with you?
He's done one. Oh, sorry.
That's all he needed.
Yes, that's all he needed.
Yeah.
So we talked about hobbies. Like there was one year in 2019 where we each did each other's thing. So he did one of my things.
Oh, cool.
So he did a 40-mile run that was in Minnesota. It's called St. Croix. He did not like it at all. And then I climbed a mountain with him, Rainier, out in Washington.
Oh,
and so we did that together as like, all right. And so we just tried each other's thing. So
Nice.
yeah, for hobbies, it's like, all right. But
Interesting.
we still like to get outside. Getting outside.
Well, you got it. I mean, getting outside here, especially during the cold, is definitely very impressive. Now, these runs they're during the cold times.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cold like year round in this part of the country, but it's,
There's one, the Arrowhead International Falls. That's at the end of January, and then active.
it's really cold.
It's one of the closest places in the United States. In fact, it probably is. International Falls is always on the news as the coldest place in the United States during winter a lot of times.
And you're outside running.
Yeah. So deep appreciation for layering.
Oh yeah, deep appreciation for being outside. You're just impressed that you're outside at this time.
So I'm just like I'm excited to like be here in the winter longer, like and just really be able to kind of get more exposed. It's not getting that cold in southern Wisconsin anymore. It's just not getting that cold.
Yeah, and I know Sonia, you guys came over. You guys made a big change for
Yes. Well, I am from Minnesota, but I did live in Florida for 19 years, which is where I met my husband. So he retired at 26 years from an agency in Florida, and then we moved to North Dakota, of all places.
You went from beaches to just cold.
Yeah.
Frigid weather.
Crazy, I know, it sounds crazy, but getting away from the congestion and some of the not healthy things into a healthy environment, that's the reason why we did it. And it's just, the town we moved to is just awesome. It really is awesome. So, but moving children was very difficult because the one was in 4th grade and the other one was in 9th grade. So moving a high schooler was devastating. Yeah, but we really were not happy with the high school that our daughter was in. So that was a motivating factor. She wasn't happy at all, but she jumped right into sports when she got here, and that helped tremendously. So, but yeah, chiefs move a lot. A lot of agencies will not hire from within. So that is one thing that is kind of a commonality, is a lot of chiefs do move around a bit. So
there's not as many internal hires. I want to say probably 10, 15 years ago, there were more internal hires, especially for like chiefs and stuff like that, even sheriffs, especially the smaller towns and stuff like that. But given leadership studies and surveys and styles now, you realize it is better to hire from the outside, just because you get a different perspective of leadership. And obviously some cultures can handle it, but you see it happen a lot more. Now you don't see it come from multiple states over like that. Like that's a little different.
It was different. It really was. Yeah, it was really something. But wow, it's just somehow you would have thought Jason was there his whole life. I mean,
he does love North Dakota. Every time we talk about it, he's trying to convince me to move here. He's like, oh yeah, he tries to say, Jason's been saying this. So I have not looked up. Actually, we did look up real estate yesterday out of curiosity.
There it is.
But because I was curious about the housing market. But she's right. Jason does love North Dakota. Like I was just like, he was like, after this conference, you're gonna want to buy a house here. I was like, in 3 days, Jason? You have a lot of confidence in the state of North Dakota. I'm impressed.
All of our friends in Florida, which a lot of them have visited too. But he tells everybody to North Dakota. We're gonna, if everybody does move here, it won't be North Dakota anymore.
Overpopulation of North Dakota. It's gonna be
right?
Yeah. It's already 760,000. It's gonna be like a million. Like, how do we get an extra 200,000? There's this guy named Jason. He will promote to every single person he talks to, and then it just goes from there. So that's good. So based on the time, we're gonna wrap things up. So I guess we'll start with you, Sarah. If people are looking to find you, reach out to you of any manner, I don't know if you're social media or not, or if you want to share, you can. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, or where can they find the Beulah Police Department?
So Beulah Police Department does have social media. They have a Facebook page. I have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn.
Oh, you're on everything that never.
So I'm on everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the only reason I say it because you don't know who's watching, listening. They may have questions on how some of the things we talked about, like how did you create like the bond of the spouses in the association, or how are you creating the after hours things? Because once again, I think that's the most important part of what we talked about is how you create that fellowship, like, because you should have other people, and like we talked about, there's probably you all think there's not a lot of associations that do this. Like I speak a lot, and I say it again, and I repeat myself from earlier. This might be 1 out of 50 that actually takes it to this level. And I don't mean I've been everywhere, but I mean in my mind, I haven't seen anything to this magnitude for like the podcast and the camaraderie. Not saying it's not there, but there might be someone out there looking for how to build their own system. So you said pretty much every social media platform out there. Okay, all right, perfect. Sonia, what do you think?
I'm on Facebook. That's I guess about it. So yeah.
And then Mandan, I don't know if do they have their own?
They have their own Facebook. Mandan PD has their own Facebook.
Okay.
And then I have my own Facebook. So yeah, if anybody wants to reach out to me, we're happy to talk about what we've done here and what we plan to do. So yeah, absolutely.
Sean?
And it's always fun to plan for the next year too.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Right.
Sean?
The
mic.
Oh.
Yeah. We only have 4 mics and 5 people. I had to figure it out.
So I'm basically only on Facebook. I have Instagram. That's it.
Okay.
Tioga,
I don't know, give it a size.
Tioga has their own Facebook.
Okay.
And actually, Josh works on different videos of the town.
Perfect.
So there's little snippets of Tioga PD action going that he puts together.
Andrew, where can they find you if they're looking? Besides running to
You
Winnipeg
really won't
from
find
Grand Forks.
me. Yeah, I'm pretty much hidden, but yeah, Grand Forks has its socials and everything like that. But yeah, Ultra Sign Up is a way to find me, I guess, and where I've got some of my races there. But that's as close as I'll say. But find me at a race.
Yeah, no, that's right. And I want everybody to know that. Although I want people to know that they're watching that the people that we have on today's podcast is not representative of any of these agencies. They are the spouses, so don't come to them thinking that, hey, I want to know about Beulah, I want to know about Mandan, I want to know about Tioga, I want to know about Grand Forks. No, it's just saying if you want to know more about the city and that chief that works there, that's the way to find them. Don't call that Facebook page and say, oh, I want to talk to Shauna.
Hey, yeah, we're Tioga, North Dakota, not Tioga, Texas, because we've actually had calls from Tioga, Texas.
I believe that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I mean, but I want people to know, like, if they're watching, don't think they can reach out to the PD to find you all. You are private citizens away. It's just as far as your spouses, that's where they're at. If you want to talk to their spouse, reach out to them. But I'll just say that just to highlight the cities that you're in. So if they're not, I don't want them calling Grand Forks saying, "Hey, I saw her on this." So and she said, "No, rewind it back." We're not saying call the police department or reach out social media, but that's just saying that if you're looking for that department, that they have their own respective agencies and you are not representatives of that. So that's perfect. Final words. Since we ended right here, we'll go back this way. Any final words?
Final words. I can't think of anything other than I appreciate the time and the chat that we're able to provide here, and maybe we can kick off something. Maybe this is a pilot of sorts to take something forward, or at least maybe someone else will kick somebody else into gear. So,
yeah, my thoughts exactly. I like being the pilot of this. At first, I was a little bit, are you sure you want to edit out that much? But it actually does a lot of good just being able to have this kind of pilot and knowing what's out there, especially for other viewers in different areas. Get into your Chiefs Association and try and make a difference in your area. That's what this is all about. That's what this has become, and you might as well try and do it on your own.
I agree with what Shauna said. Basically, just try to get into your community, and you can if your husband is a chief, talk to your husband about doing this at his Chiefs Association. That you heard about this group in North Dakota, and this is what they're doing, and all the wives are getting to know each other, and it's been a wonderful community. It's been absolutely wonderful and has helped us a lot. So,
because when it hits the fan, it's good to know who to call.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. It's been great for us. I've built a lot of relationships over the past, this is what, 4th year?
Yes.
With the Chiefs Association wives.
Yes.
If any other department doesn't do it or states don't do it, they should. Just because divorce rate is super, super high for cops.
Super high.
And this is one thing that gives you guys a support group, not only for your spouses, but for yourselves, so they have somebody else that understands that you're not alone. Like, life is hard being married to a cop, let alone the chief. So it's a good thing to do. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate y'all. It's never. I know I'm definitely the odd man out here. Not just being a male, but not being from the area either. Just like, how did Michael get us all on here? Once again, this was Jason's idea. So you can thank Jason for this whole thing. Now he knows. But he did it, like I said, all the reason. Obviously, I enjoy it because part of my podcast is humanizing the badge. Humanizing the badge is every part of it. It's just not the person that's wearing it, but it's the people that are supporting it, whether it's the family, the agency, the community. And I think without people knowing this, obviously I could say so much, but hearing it from each of you gives a whole nother perspective that people may have not thought of. Or they're like, oh, we didn't think they thought that. Now they know some idea of what you all have been through, what you all are doing, and maybe if they're having that bad day or that bad moment, maybe they can find a way to kind of maneuver around it. Maybe they can watch an episode like this and say, you know what, maybe we should form our own group, or maybe we should talk our association, whatever that looks like, or our police department into creating something like this, because we shouldn't struggle alone. We shouldn't face some of these things by ourselves. Right. And there's a lot of people that want to do stuff like this and they don't know where to start. So I think this is a good idea. I love being obviously it's my podcast. I like doing it. I like speaking in general, but I also like learning from other people, because I don't want to know everything, but I want to be able to guide people in the direction of the right information. So I do appreciate your time. Appreciate Jason, obviously Frank, all the spouses that allowed you all to be here, that maybe signed you up without knowing. Obviously you had to be here being that was Grand Forks. so he was just like, hey, Jay was like, I need at least one person to be here that can represent me. So I can't have him do this in my city and my spouse isn't there. So obviously love what the association's doing, or to put stuff like this together. Extra Duty Solutions, they've been very supportive of law enforcement throughout the country, and obviously I love to partner with them. That's why I came here with them this year, and just being in law enforcement in general is always an amazing thing, because we never know what's out there. And then once we get here, like my first time being in North Dakota, I'm excited. I don't know if I'm buying a house yet, but I'm not opposed to it, especially coming here during the summer, because in Houston right now, it is probably 100 degrees, if not 105 in Houston. Yeah.
We'll work on you at the banquet.
Yeah. I'll have to. Yeah, I'd be like, I'd buy me like a 1-bedroom, or get me one of those community farms I learned about yesterday.
Yes.
I didn't even know that was a real thing. Texas, we don't have community farms. Y'all have them here, at least in Grand Forks. I don't know if that's throughout the whole state. Yeah. Community farm is a cool thing. The whole state, yeah, that's pretty cool. So they say let me not, because that'll be a whole other podcast. Once again, I thank you all. Spend a couple of hours. Obviously, we got some more stuff to do, and with the podcast on, they don't have to know about that. Just know it's gonna be more fun time spent together. So
Yeah.
appreciate it, guys. If y'all don't have anything else, we'll end it there.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the LEO First Podcast. Michael has been in law enforcement since 2005. He's worked for 3 law enforcement agencies in 3 different states. He's a professional speaker who travels the country teaching about leadership development and self-awareness. And he's the author of a book called Greatness Beyond the Badge: The 3 Key Principles for Self-Awareness. It's Michael's passion to bring law enforcement members' stories to the front, so you get the real and raw take. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with Michael on YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Michael Laidler, on Twitter at Michael A. Laidler, on Facebook at Michael Laidler Leadership. Send an email to michael@michaellaidler.com and hit the website at michaellaidler.com. See you next time on the LEO First Podcast.
Like that, I'm gonna be leaving a note. Find vehicles, I can verify